everyone, it's Mike from PC Classic Cars, back with another test drive video. Today we are in my restored 1971 Dodge Dart with a 340 and an automatic transmission. Alright, so again we have a 1971 Dodge Dart, and pretty much everything you're going to want to do to an A-body has been done on this one. It has a non-original 340. If I'm not mistaken, the date code on the motor was a 1969 340. This car would have originally been a 6-cylinder, and that's probably why it's such a good car, because it was kind of a nothing car that they restored and did kind of a resto mod style on. And usually when you start with a good car, you obviously end up with a better one at the end. Motor runs really well. Again, 340s are one of my, it actually is my favorite Mopar motor. Love a 340, backed by a 727 3-speed automatic transmission. And then you have an 8 3/4 rear end. I don't know what the gear ratio is in the back, but we'll cruise at 65, 70 miles an hour without a problem. On your steering, you have a stock style set of power, power steering setup on it. And then you do have full aftermarket Wilwood 4-wheel disc brakes. Like I was saying, is you do have 4-wheel Wilwood discs. It is a manual 4-wheel disc brake setup, but it will throw you through the windshield. It stops great. You have classic auto AC. AC does have the underdash unit here for the vents. Blows nice and cold. I will say when you kick the heater on, it's not blowing any heat out of the defrost or the floor, so something's going wrong with the heater. But more importantly, that the AC does work. The only other item I have listed as a no is when you put it in reverse, your little lights and the tail lights for the reverse lights aren't coming on. On the interior, you have a very nice black interior. This would have originally been a Code GY4, which would have been the gold interior, so swapping it to black was a nice upgrade. Little bit of wrinkling in the dash pad here, but it's minimal. Your visors, your headliner, all that stuff looks great. Gauges are super easy to read. You have your tough steering wheel, factory style radio in the hull there. Really no issues on the interior. It shows very, very nice. Back seat looks good. Package tray looks good. I would go with a retro style stereo if it was my car to keep. But that's just me. Those retro style radios are great. You do have a 2-gauge pod under the dash. The aftermarket oil pressure gauge is working, but it bounces between 60 and 80 pounds pretty erratically. So that could probably be a pretty easy fix there, but it does work. There is no factory oil pressure gauge, so at least having that is a big bonus, and you got great oil pressure. The factory temp gauge works, but it reads really low. And then the aftermarket temperature gauge under there is functioning as well. Speedo's working, horn works, your wipers and your washer fluid sprayers work. You do have your dimmer switch on the floor, and then above that you have the washer fluid pump sprayer that you push to get the washer sprayers to work. Your exterior lights, everything again outside of the reverse lights are working. We're getting up to about 160, 170 degrees here, so we'll be able to get on it. On your exhaust system, you do have a stock style set of manifolds, which I think the exhaust manifolds look great on these. Full aftermarket dual exhaust. Instead of me sitting here talking, we'll test it out a little bit. That was about 80 right there. Pulls real well. One of the tighter A-bodies that I've driven. I have an astronomical amount of paperwork for this car, all kinds of receipts. I have the build sheet, obviously the fender tag and the VIN are where they're supposed to be. Just a good amount of paperwork, a good binder that goes with the car. You'll see that in my additional informations tab. On the underneath, extremely solid floors, frame rails inside the trunk. Shows absolutely great. Inside the trunk, a little bit of the Citron yellow paint is kind of flaking off on the trunk floor. That's a real nitpicky deal. But you'll see the underneath in my photos, no rust issues on the bottom side. On the exterior, it was a color change. This was originally a GY9 gold metallic car. Now, obviously you can see it's the Citron yellow. Paint quality's nice. Couple little touch-ups, a little touch-up on the front corner of the hood over there on the passenger side. Couple other little nicks around the car, just miscellaneous stuff. The worst thing, and it's very minimal, via the receipts, this car was repainted back in 2005, so a little bit of an older repaint. Mechanical and everything else was done more recent than that, but some small little bubbles have started showing through on the rocker panel over there on the passenger side. Easy fix for a paint shop to spot that in. I was gonna send it to my guy to have it done. Just timing on it, didn't have the time to get it done. Everything about the car is so nice that I decided to just leave it. Again, you'll see photos of those little spots in my additional informations tab, and it's really minimal, superficial stuff. For a car that was repainted 20 years ago, having those little spots show through does not bother me one bit. Again, rest of the paint shows great. I love the Citroen yellow. In some lights, it's got like a greenish tint. In some lights, it's yellow, but it is a really cool and a very popular Mopar color. Love the blackout on the hood. Love the hood scoops. Just a really good looking car. You have the 18-inch Riddler wheels. Tires, I believe, date cut are 2019. Looking through the wheels, you can obviously see the Wheelwood disc brakes, which just give it a killer look. Doors open and closed great. Some little scuffs in the windshield right here. Some little marks on the side windows. Windows roll up and down like they should. The wind noise is to a minimum. All your suspension and steering components were definitely redone when the car was restored. As you can see, it's very nice and tight. It doesn't have that Mopar sloppiness to it. Again, plenty of Mopars are really good cars, but in my experience, sometimes they just have a little bit more float to them, a little bit more rattles. This one is a very tight and well ironed out car. I generally go for the bigger body cars, a B body or an E body if it is going to be a Mopar. This being an A body is probably one of my favorite A bodies I've ever owned. It's just a really good car. On the interior, I forgot to note on the kick panel over there, you probably can't see it in the video, but there'll be a photo of it in my additional informations tab. There's a little like nick in the kick panel in the black. You could have that touched up really simple. Turn signal switch is nice and tight, clicks on and off like it should. Dash bulbs work. Driving position is very comfortable. And back on that oil pressure gauge, while you're in the throttle, you don't hear it, but when you're just sitting there at idle and the oil pressure gauge is bouncing a little bit, you'll hear the needle moving just a little bit. We'll roll into it just a little bit. Just love a 340. This one's not a crazy 500 horsepower stroker motor or anything like that. Just more of a good, well-balanced 340. Has plenty of power. That 727 shifts great. And I love the fact that this already has aftermarket AC. If you're gonna own an A-body, outside of maybe doing a 5-speed in this, I don't think there's anything that I would do. Temperature still running good. We're about 100, it's showing about 170 or so degrees on that temperature gauge, so it runs nice and cool. I haven't really been beating on it, but no overheating issues. Road feels very comfortable. Plenty of room between me and the steering wheel. If y'all watch my videos, I say it all the time. I'm right at 6 foot tall, about 190 pounds, and I fit in this car very comfortably. I believe the front seat will go back just a little bit further. If you're 6'6", you're probably not going to be very comfortable in here. But someone up to about 6'2", maybe even 6'3", you'd probably still be comfortable if you lean down in the seat a little bit. But I have plenty of room between my knee and the dash itself. Inside the trunk's real detailed, very nice. This guy's probably coming across here. Nice shift. There was about 80, 85 for y'all again. Really tight car, no vibrations, no weird sounds from the suspension or the steering. Rear end's not making any whining noises. Just a really, really good car. And as always, I appreciate y'all stopping in to watch another one of my test drives. Make sure you check out the additional informations tab as well as the virtual description video on my website, pcclassiccars.com. I'll catch you guys on the next video, and I hope you have a great rest of your week and a nice upcoming weekend. And I might just have to take this home for the weekend and use it as my cruiser. This is a fun car to drive.